This video is going to go over how to graph categorical data on the TI-84 plus CE using the cell sheet application. And so using the normal list and the normal stat list concept with the stat plot does not work for categorical data on the 84 plus CE. But if we go to our apps key, we can see that we have a cell sheet application which functions a little bit like Excel, not completely like, and it is complicated, but we can do this. And again, keep in mind this is something that you could actually set up for your students ahead of time and then transfer this over to their handhelds. So we're going to go to cell sheet, press any key to continue. And the first thing that we want to do is we need to enter our data. And so if we just press enter or any key right now, we're going to go to our cell sheet. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to create a new file. So if we go to menu, and if you look at, we see menu down here, but that's going to be above the graph key. And so for instance, if I hide my large display, you can see that above the graph key is where menu is. And let me go ahead and view that large display again. So we can go to graph, which is our menu, and go to file, which is option 1, and we want a new one. And we can see that this is in alpha lock. So I'm just going to type COL for color. And so above the program key, we see the letter C in green. And then above 7 is O. And then above the right parenthesis is L. And I'm going to arrow down and choose enter. So what we want to do is we want to basically put our categories or our colors in row 1. And so to make sure that the calculator understands that this is going to be categorical or qualitative data, we need to put a quote. So we need to go second alpha to lock in all the capital letters and the quote. And above the plus, you see the quote. And I've already got it down here. And then we can type in red. So we'll go R-E-D, and this can be a little bit tricky just because it takes a while to find those letters. And then we can press enter, and then we have to come over to this column, and the same thing, second alpha, plus, and we'll type in blue. And so what we want to do is now graph this. And so if we click the menu key, and we want to do a chart. So we'll press 4 for chart, and we're going to start with the bar chart. So we can just select the number 5 or arrow down to that. And it's like, okay, well, we need to know where your categories are. And our categories are basically in row 1. And so we can go, okay, those are in alpha A, 1, and we need a colon, which is above the decimal point down here. And so we need to do alpha decimal, and that's going to go over to D1. So alpha D1. Right? And then our series are basically, okay, where are your amounts? And that's going to be in row 2. And so we would just go alpha A2, alpha decimal, and then alpha D2. And then we can arrow down. And then as we arrow down, we can see that we can do a vertical or horizontal graph, and we arrow over and we choose draw. Now what you can see, this is just a little bit different because you can't really adjust the colors and things of that nature. But you can see where this can be useful. Again, it may be that you want to really go over your categories, and we'd have to really go back and set the window, and we need to really maybe set, I click the window key right there, and maybe we can select that to -2, and then we can arrow down here since we have such high values and just select this to 40. Select draw and press enter. And you can see that gives a good visual of that. And so now if we want to go back and change that into a circle graph, we can come up here and click second quit, and it takes us back to our spreadsheet. Again, we can click graph for our menu. We can go 4 to chart, and then we can do a pie chart for 7. And we have to go back and go ahead and put in our categories. And so if you remember, that was going to be alpha 1 and to A1 to D1. And then the series was in row 2, so A2 to D2. And you can do a number or a percent. You can even title that. We'll just go ahead and notice that it's an alpha lock. We'll just do COLORS, colors, and then draw that. And again, that gives them the colors, but it doesn't really do the actual names of the colors. And then we could go back and do that in percent if we wanted to.